everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm really excited to be here with you. Do you know why? Because this is our future. Anything that happens in the UAE for the future is a present to all of us. Do we agree?
Yes.
Tomorrow, if the UAE comes up with infrastructure, a metro, a rail, a monorail, or any future innovation, doesn't that benefit us? I think it does, and not just us, my dear friends, our families as well. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. I've been in the Middle East for the last 30 years, so there are generations here, and I'm proud to mention that I'm the first lady with the Dubai Chamber of Commerce heading the investment services group. And I strongly believe that finance is a foundation that should be ingrained in our curriculum right from the very beginning. So that is where we are looking at a changing mindset, not just with sustainability, my dear friends. It is with our very essence of life, personally and professionally. I have some beautiful slides here, but excuse me because I think because of the light, but that's the UAE beautiful flag that we have, and we talk about how the UAE vision not just percolates to the UAE alone, globally as well. And at the end of our presentation, hopefully we will all understand how each of us here benefits from it. And not just benefits, what is our action plan, what is our contribution, and what is it that each one of us in this room can do to make life better in this planet. So my talk is about global leadership competencies and how we can pave the way. I would like to start by this quote which talks about true leadership. It's all about envisioning a future where prosperity and sustainability are interwoven. And that's what I said. The happiness of the UAE is our happiness as well. And with the UAE Vision 2030, we are paving a path that honors our heritage by embracing innovation for the welfare of our people and the world. And my dear friends, if there's anyone of us sitting in this room who does not have a higher purpose in life, trust me, then I think we need to get ourselves aligned with our basic values, because that is the foundation. And so beautifully, that is exactly what the UAE resonates at each and every step of the way. So this is a vision and impact where we are looking at leading with global competencies for sustainable change and social impact. And that relates to the world of finance as well. You know, in finance, we all go to the boardroom and talk about profitability. Am I right? But not anymore. You know what the government is doing? They're saying that if there is no social impact, we don't bother about profitability anymore. Because profitability will automatically come when you have great societal impact. And this is where we are all on the reverse gear. And C Institute is the one that collaboratively believes in this philosophy, and that is why I was here last year addressing this very topic at the Climate Talk series that we had. So we are talking about social impact, we are talking about frameworks for digital literacy, we are talking about where we have companies, corporates, education sectors, government frameworks combine ourselves together to make it possible. I'm moving on. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's move on, where we talk about this is a research paper, and my presentation is all about vision and impact and how we can make the UAE vision come true, I just want to go through some of the research questions that we ask ourselves, because everything is based on the study and then creating the societal impact. So let's look at the questions for Vision 2030 of the UAE government. How do we achieve economic growth and at the same time look at diversification and inclusivity in different realms? What are some of the leadership qualities that we should be looking at? Is it empathy? Is it an emotional connection? Or is it AI being here and, we are doing everything online with the Oculus vision? So we need to ask ourselves the question, what about policy formulation? How many of us have received scam calls? How many of us have received calls? Can I have a show of hands?
Who have not
Give me
received?
your OTP and it is some UAE government regulation. Exactly, my friends. This is the question. When we work on the bigger vision, there are bound to be growing pains. And these are part of the growing pains which every country and city has. But how do we work together, share our voices and make it possible? The next question we ask is, what are some of the research initiatives, noble initiatives on inclusion and equity that we should have? And finally, let's be honest, what are some of the challenges we are facing? And what is the leadership role that we can all be a part of to make this vision a reality, not just in 2030, but even sooner? So, very quickly through the background, we looked at the UAE Vision as the forerunner. We're looking at the global leadership competencies. We're looking at sustainability leadership, which this conference is all about, some of the impact goals and future projections. And I hope that this image, which is created by the Abu Dhabi Visionary Institute and the committee, is something that you all have seen before. If not, I would like to request you, whenever you're free, take some time off to type UAE Vision 2030 and have a look. You will be so proud to be part of this beautiful country. And trust me, when you go home to your families, you will automatically align yourself and follow this. So we have looked at some of the leadership competencies which can help in creating that impact and in also ensuring that the corporates and organizations follow. I'm going to go a bit quickly, which talks about what are some of the key elements of sustainability leadership. Because leadership is not just for the leaders, it's for each and every one of us in this room, right from our young generation, the Gen Zs who are following, questioning every belief with the power of now. We need to rethink these approaches, and some of the main challenges that have come up are, how are we going to rethink our traditional approaches? How do we ensure that the vision is sustainable in the long run? How do we negotiate and have these very difficult discussions, uncomfortable discussions, and finally manage dissent? We had the Dubai storm the other day, but it was so beautiful to see the entire community come together. We did not challenge the status quo and say that we must be protected. Rather, we saw how could we make this place even more beautiful and comfortable. And my dear friends, with that comes different sectors, right from diversification. We are moving from oil to a knowledge-based economy as per the Vision 2071 of the government. We're looking at innovations, AI, 3D printing. We're looking at infrastructure. We're looking at sustainability on different realms like the Dubai Clean Energy Summit, the education and health, the legislation, economic growth. We are looking at doubling the GDP of our country, social well-being, and most importantly, global influence. We want to position the UAE as number one, and that's a bold vision. So very quickly, how are we measuring it? We're looking at a lot of analytics and tools. We are already looking at transforming 25% of the transportation to be on an autonomous mode. And I hope you heard the conversation this morning from the captain of Dubai Silicon Oasis, where he talks about moving everything to automation with the first mayor of DSO as well. The Dubai Clean Energy Strategy and how we are also doubling the country's GDP. Keeping in mind the pillars of environment, economy and development. So since this is a research paper, we focused on key areas and key themes, which is policy and influence in decision making, where we work with the Dubai Chambers. We're looking at leadership development, economic, environmental sustainability. We're looking at social impact, and finally long-term gains. Few minutes to go. These are some of the sustainability trends right from the 2020s that we have taken into consideration, and how can we build on this. We are not reinventing the wheel here. We are not challenging the status quo. All we are doing is enhancing it. And finally, when we talk about sustainability leadership, these are some of the areas that we are looking at. We take it from the UNESCO sustainability model and move it forward. The review of literature, we looked at 150 scholarly articles and 50 trade publications from across the globe, keeping in mind key messages, and we came up with key areas of the UAE agenda, the innovation, the leadership summit, which makes things move to different realms. Certain actions that we recommend for the public and private sector partnership, which is all about strategic investments. We look at innovation and skill development programs, and you will be hearing about a lot of launches of these initiatives in the news very soon. We are looking at the 6 principles of leadership, which we will, percolate across nations and across different leadership plans. The methodology that we used was data collection, sampling, data analysis, case studies. We looked at ethical considerations, but at the same time, we looked at the limitations of the mixed methods, the qualitative and the quantitative analysis used. These are some of the strategies that we put into playing right from the HRM practices to the formalization of activities. Our recommendations to the corporate sector, which we are taking into consideration, is sustainable practices, use more of technology, look at the private partner, public sector partnerships. We're looking at research and development, mainstream, and finally talent. This is our recommendation to the education sector, which we also spoke earlier in the summit today, which is about the curriculum integration, collaboration, research investment, where we pull in together skill development and learning. And finally, for sustainable leaders, all of you here in this room today to start with, let's look at leadership in green innovation. Let's build our network. Let's look at engagement. Everything that we do, let us measure it, and finally advocate for policy. I would like to conclude by talking about there are great achievements which need to be highlighted. And it is very important that we use everything around us as a success story and build a foundation on it. Right from the leadership, how a global hub like us has impacted the world, how we look at continuity and future endeavors. Thank you so much, and I'm really glad to be with you all today. I hope you have found it